Well, how's it going, guys? I know I've probably been slowing down on making videos, but I don't have ideas all the time, and also obviously work and just life. That's all right. But I don't know if you guys have actually noticed, like even right now, I have bought a Tahoe. It was an interesting purchase, I'll say that. Like a bit of a risk, but we'll see what happens. And so I've had it for about, what is it now? About almost a month now. So like right now I'm just waiting for a little bit, and then I think my next plan for the C5 now, because I'm not really driving the C5 as much anymore. I'm driving it once, twice a week, at least once. I drive it at least once, but for sure at most, I think at the moment I drive it twice. And same place, usually go to work, or if I'm going anywhere else. Oh, excuse me. But now that I have this Tahoe, right, now that I have a second car to fall on, I think now my plan, everything that I pretty much wanted to do to my C5, I think I'd want to do. Now, we're upgrading it, obviously. I don't think I do, right? Unless maybe in the future I just get super bored for whatever reason. Like I looked at, obviously, you go with the whole NA setup, or you just go flat out with a ANA supercharger or Pro Charger, whatever you want to call it, right? I call it a Pro Charger, but I know online it's called an ANA supercharger. But oh my god, just Pro Charge it. I like Pro Chargers too. They're nice. They're cool. They sound cool, and they kind of, I kind of feel like Pro Chargers are kind of like a mid-ground for any car. It's kind of like it's not the best at low-end torque, and it's not the best at the high range like the way turbos are, but it's the best in the middle. So it can do the best of both worlds. So it can give you like a good low and high, which is, I feel like that's what you'd like, right? You like kind of the best of both worlds. Almost no lag, not as torquey as a pure supercharger, but can give you more torque than a turbo would off the rip. But that being said, I looked at those. I've even looked at some like Hilgenfeiger, I think is how you pronounce it, like superchargers. I'm like, just to see. And then for me, obviously, I try to really think about it. I'm like, what would I want where it's still a drivable car for me, right? And I think like maybe obviously an impressive one would be to go a max effort off the NA, right? Max effort straight up, which, yeah, that would be an interesting like setup, I guess. But right now, obviously, I think my first step here would be to get some headers. I'm just gonna go with start with the simple, right? Start with the simple. Start with the one that's on the exterior of the car. I'm probably gonna go with headers. Now the brand, I'm mostly looking at like Speed Engineering, to be honest. So yeah, I'm mostly looking at Speed Engineering's headers for the most part. The other thing I think besides Speed Engineering, obviously. I'm like, there was some other brand called Sunseto, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen that one, but it was like a Sunceto, I think is how it was spelled. That one, I was like, that one's a little bit tempting too. I don't know much about them. Like, I've tried to look up stuff, and it doesn't seem to be a very common thing that obviously a lot of C5 guys get. Or just anyone, but obviously I look at more towards C5 because that's what I have. And obviously the big difference that I see for that one compared to from the two most, I guess, the two biggest budget headers that I could find at this point is the fact that one is made out of, it's a different material steel, right? Like the Sunsetos, apparently, off of their own personal website, apparently they use, it's not 304, it's like 20 something, 201 or something like that. And it's supposed to be stronger, right? It's supposed to be stronger steel, type of steel. It's just the only difference is it's not corrosion resistance. Like, it doesn't have that quality that a 304 would have. Which, obviously, you'd be worried more if you were in a salt state. I'm not, right? I live in Arizona. This is not really a state where I can get super, like, worried about that. I don't think. I'm like, obviously, if I can't find enough evidence or anything of that matter that these do work, I don't know if I'll get the Sunsetos. I think I'll stick with the Speed Engineering, just because those are quite, well known, especially with GM cars. So I might end up buying that. Obviously, I'm gonna buy the other things. I'm gonna buy like a thermal wrap or heat wrap to wrap the headers. I think if you're gonna get headers, wrap them, right? Try to reduce any sort of heat that it's just gonna radiate up into the engine bay and whatnot. It's gonna help. And obviously a tune will be needed for that one, but I'm gonna start with that. Maybe a cam eventually, right? Like I said, I kind of like just taking things basically one step at a time, right? Just go with, like, let's start here, put that goal towards that specific item, and then once you get the item and installed and all that stuff, go from there, right? So I'm like, I haven't really been paying too much attention to anything else to add to the C5 besides headers, right? I see like cam or heads or intake higher, or like low ram, higher, whatever, right? All these intake manifolds and whatnot. I'm like, or throttle bodies, and yeah, I haven't looked at those, right? I haven't really looked at any of them. Because the only big thing that my C5 has, which is quite nice, right, is I have the C5 Z06's manifold on my car, right? So I don't have a Z06. I just have a regular C5, and that one, mine being an 04, I think it was after 02 or after a certain time on like a build date during 2001, but for sure I think from 02 to 2004, all C5s standard came with the LS6 intake manifolds, which obviously from GM, that was one of the best flowing intake manifolds, I think, even to this day, right? Especially from the whole LS platform. During that time period, that was one of the best manifolds that they've ever made. I'm not gonna say it was the best, it wasn't, right? There was definitely better ones, but off of that style, I think that was one of the better ones that they've ever seen for flow. Because that's what you need to make power, is flow. But for headers, I'm like, obviously then you got the bigger name brands. You got like the, what is it, American Racing or Cooks. I think maybe even Stainless Works, I think, by chance, if they, I'm pretty sure they still make some too. And obviously these are, they're priced heavily, right? They're in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. They're not cheap. I mean, nothing, if you're trying to add power, nothing will come cheap, right? Because that's just the way it is, right? You're kind of just plagued with, you're modifying, obviously, the factory setup. So that will cost some money, because you got to retune and everything to make sure everything turns off. Unless if you know how to do it yourself and do everything, right? That's tuning included, which I will say right now, I do not, right? Installing everything, I can do that. That's fine, no problem. Tuning is the part where I don't really, I don't specialize in that, right? That's not me. Now, for headers, I mean, obviously, most people would probably do a dyno tune. You don't need to do a dyno tune. I mean, it'd probably be a bit nicer, because then you can actually maximize what the car can do with what it has at that moment. But we'll see for mine. I'm still, obviously, I think my plan is to literally get the headers, heat wrap, all that good stuff, install everything I need to install, and then get a tune, but not necessarily a dyno tune, just an AFR tune, which is an air fuel mix like tune, just to kind of recalibrate it, bring it back down to what the car needs to be at to operate correctly, like, so it doesn't run lean the whole time, because you don't want that. And like, damn, I keep yawning. Jesus, yeah, it's still early. Sorry. Yeah, like, you don't want it to just, throw, because once the headers get thrown on, it's gonna throw in the check engine light. It's the way it always goes. You're gonna have to get it retuned, because more air is coming out now. It's gonna be too much for what the car is calibrated for, right? I'll say every car is calibrated for a certain amount of air coming in, coming out. And if it starts reading so much, like, especially either your MAP sensors and whatnot, MAP, but even your O2 sensors, so if those start reading something way off of what they are supposed to be reading within range, it'll throw on a check engine light. So because of the long tube headers, unless you go catalyst, then you really gotta try and tune that out. Which for me, I probably will. Who knows? Either I'll go catalyst or catid. We'll see. I'm still kind of just looking more into that. For like, I think for the headers, I think the other ones I like looking at, if I really wanted to go full blown with cats, obviously, is I looked at the Speed Engineering, American Racing. So the American Racing ones, I think, are probably the ones I looked at the most when it came to the catted versions. Because Speed Engineering and I think the Sunset that I was talking about, they don't have cats. They're just full blown. Unless there is one thing on Speed Engineering's website, they have weld-in cats. I don't know how well those things work. I don't know if anyone's ever tried it, but it's like $100 more to add to it. I'm like, okay. So that one may be tempting as well. But we'll see, right? We'll see what I do. I just want to get some headers. That's really the main goal at this time. Because like, even though, yeah, some people might think it could also be a waste of money, I think the only thing no one can really deny off of headers is just the sound that it provides. Even without the cam, right? I'm like, even with just the stock cam, I'm like, headers will just open up the noise that car can make, which is just what I want, right? Just open up some noise. Let it breathe. Let it do everything that pretty much I've been, you know, wanting to give that car, but I never could. Because, like, yes, I wanna upgrade it and whatnot, but no, because that was the only car I had at that time. But now that I have this, some domains that I once explored can be explored once again. So, but I say I will probably let you guys know about that whenever that time comes. And parked it. There it is, boys. Alrighty. And I think that will only probably be it for this video. It's probably one of my short-ish ones, but it's okay, you know. But not all the videos have to be long. But I will probably make another video sometime soon. Now, whether it's going to be about after the header installation, I don't know, but we'll see, right? I say if the headers come in, obviously, they get installed. And so I will make a video on that. So, but all right, though, I gotta probably head to work here in a couple minutes. Y'all have a great day. I'm out.